Hi there. Happy Friday to you. I wanted to jump on. It's been a while. It's been a while, and I have been like you, thinking a lot, feeling a lot, um, given what is happening. And so I just wanted to share some thoughts with you that may or may not assist you. I am certainly applying this to myself because I was reminded today, as I am often reminded, that I am always at choice. And in the new design model, we really have an awakened awareness of this choice that we have in every area of our lives. And some of the more subtle choices are very, very important to awaken to today. And that is my hope in the time that we have together. We have a choice about how we are going to think about something. We have a choice, of course, about our actions and how we're going to go forward with decisions and action steps and plans. And we also have a choice about how we are going to feel. Now, in my experience, sometimes that's not true. And the moments when it's not true is usually when you're in a triggered state. So you have a disconnect to conscious awareness, and your body is expressing a trauma, a pain point, a stored emotion. And sometimes you can't do anything about that except ride it out. And then once you're placed on solid ground again, you're able to then come into alignment with choices about how you're going to feel about something happening to you. Right? We're always at choice. And so in the new design model, we have a real strong understanding of what the mind's role is and what the heart's role is. And if there was ever a time to really make sure you and the people you care about understand the difference between the two and where you're going to rest yourself, it's right now. So obviously, if you are involved in social media, if you're involved in the news, pretty much if you're alive to what is going on in our country, we have some extreme experiences happening. It's been going on for some time. It's been building over the summer. And here we have this crescendo. And yes, it's true. The astrology, once again, not predicts, but outlines possibilities that show us why these things may be happening as they're happening, and how we can choose where we're going to stand and land in the midst of it all. It is a very, very volatile time. We are feeling divided. We are feeling anger. We are feeling rage. There is hypocrisy right before our very eyes. We're experiencing not just collectively, but also we are experiencing a mirror, perhaps, of what we often experience in our personal relationships. When perhaps one person or one group of people have rules for themselves and another set of rules for you. And the difficulty of not just navigating that, but of living inside the container of that relationship with such disparity and paradox and at times insanity, right? And so when I look at what's happening collectively, I do see how it's also playing out in my personal relationships. And that is really good, because we can be far more effective in our own personal relationships than we can in what's happening in the collective. So a few thoughts to consider as you're navigating today, as you're going through this weekend. One of the most important questions I've come to realize that I ask not just once a day, throughout the day, because depending upon what's happening, We can be bombarded by a lot of information that can consequently cause us to shift and pivot and feel different things than we just felt. So the most important question is, how do I want to feel? We hear the phrase true north. If you want to know what your true north is, ask that question. How do you want to feel? Now, sometimes we have a lot of different feelings that we want to feel. That's beautiful. Try to find maybe the one feeling that carries within it the other feelings. So like, for example, maybe for you, when you're thinking about that question, how do I want to feel? Maybe peace, right? A centered calmness that is undisturbed by outside stimuli is what you most value right now. Write that down. Think about that. What other feelings might fall underneath that can encompass more than just that one powerful feeling of inner peace, inner calm, a sense of centeredness, an ability to turn away from the world of effects and turn inward. And a lot of us are just learning how to do that. And so give yourself time, have patience, apply compassion to yourself as you learn how to unhook from the world of effects, unplug from the obsessive stimulation of our 24/7 world, and center in to yourself. Well, C's, how do I do that? Nothing gets you there faster and more gently than the breath. Shortness of breath is because it usually travels from the upper chest through the nose. It's a short trip. However, the body, and definitely the brain, and the various systems, our nervous system for sure, benefit when we take a moment and slow down our breath. People dismiss it because they measure it as something small. But that is not how we look at it, nor how we measure it in the new design for living. The breath swings like a hammer. And when you understand that you have dominion over your breath, and you practice slowing your breath down, especially if you're getting anxious, especially if you feel overwhelmed, especially if you're around people who are in the rhetoric, or in separation, or in division, or activating unloving, unkind words, in that very moment, these days I like to start with an exhale. It's amazing how many of us don't even know that we're holding our breath. So when I ask the question, do you want to be in your head or in your heart? Nothing moves you faster from the head to the heart like your breath. I think it's an absolute intentional gift that we have dominion over our breath. We are not necessarily the breath, nor are we the intelligence that actually is the breathing that we activate through our mindfulness. But we can absolutely regulate our nervous system and calm ourselves down by becoming more aware of our breath. The other thing that I wanted to share with you today, inside that question, where are you? Are you in your head or are you in your heart? Is that right now, every time we place our attention on something, whether it's high vibe, low vibe, or someplace in between, we are experiencing that reality. Everything is an inside job. If you want to scroll on social media and get caught up in the rhetoric, the comments, the division, the hate, and all of that which is happening, then that is going to be the internal reality you experience. Hence, anxiety, depression, stress, right? Your nervous system is highly activated. It's unregulated. And my question to you is that really the best place for you to be? Our phones, social media have lulled us sometimes into a trance that takes away our mindfulness, that we are in control of how often we pick up that phone and how often we dabble in things that don't support us. You know, for me, I'm aware of what's going on, but here's the thing. If it doesn't take me forward, if it doesn't help me, if it doesn't help me help other people, I rarely give it my attention because I know where my attention goes, my reality goes. And so I just wanted to come here and remind you today that you do not have to live in your head. I understand what it's like to have obsessive thoughts constantly tap you on the shoulder, especially if you're inside big healing. If you are healing yourself, if you're healing your programs, if you're stepping into a new version of yourself, if you are initiating active change, you're going to find that the momentum of the programming takes a little time sometimes to come to a full stop. You know, I feel really good. I feel really strong. That's it. I'm there. I'm healed, you know. An hour later, tap, 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 thoughts about separation, thoughts about this, that person, jealousy, etc. Nowadays, what I do is I stop, I recognize it, I put my hand on my heart, I bring compassion to my mind because I understand that that's how the mind works. It doesn't have to be how I work. I'm working out of my heart space, which is new for us because in the old design model, the heart is dismissed. In the old design model, it's all about the mind, what you know, who you know. It's all about knowing. And so during these days, these hours, these moments of intensity, I want to encourage you to give yourself permission to put it down. You know, that word has really worked me over the last 2 months. And it's shocking, and certainly nothing I'm going to get into today, how much I have realized how I had given other people and other things and other authority my permission to live, to grow, to expand, to thrive, to be a different version of myself, to be the one that implants the new programs that are in alignment to who I'm becoming and the new design of my life. Sometimes you have to give yourself permission to put things down, to turn around and walk away, to say no. I always like to remind my clients, you're not saying no to the person, you're saying no to the request. And that can be a real game changer when we have to say no, or we're trying to break a pattern where we're always saying yes, but when we really mean no. So I hope some of this is helping today. All I know is that if you go on, let me say it this way, if I go on social media and I lend my eyes, my mind, my heart, and my body, let alone my spirit, to what is happening out there, what is being discussed, the reactions that are happening, I've lost it. I've lost myself. I've given away my creativity. I've given away my sense of self to something outside of myself. And I do not want to do that. This is a really good day, a good weekend to be still, be quiet, tend to yourself. Get involved in a project that you've put off all summer and now fall is coming and it's time to get it done. Surround yourself with one person, two people, a bunch of people that are willing to turn away from what is being discussed and how things are being talked about, and have the audacity to reimagine our lives. Because the truth of the matter is we are creating every single moment. And if I allow myself to get steeped in the rhetoric, in the division, in the hate, if I allow myself to get all fired up and angry and activate the rage that I definitely hold space for, then that's where my creative juice is going to go. So it takes me back to that question. Are you in your head or are you in your heart? Are you in your thinking or are you in your feelings? Are you reacting and adding to the fire with impulsive comments and responses? Or are you pausing and giving yourself permission to rewrite how you're doing things from the place of oneness, love, and compassion? These are not simple tasks. Peace is not simple. It's extremely challenging. It's doable. It's our divine right. It's our actual blueprint. We don't have a chaotic blueprint. We have a peace-centered blueprint as the very nature of our being. Sure, there is chaos, but often within the chaos, there is a centered calm. This is something I talk a lot about in the new design for living. The last thing I want to say is that it's a great time to see where you can apply your desire to better someone else's life. It could be a friend that needs a ride, somebody that needs a little extra food in their refrigerator, somebody you haven't called in a long time that maybe you grab a cup of coffee or you have a phone conversation. Maybe you finally realize that it's not about the other person saying they're sorry, but it's about you making the amends that allow you not to what's the word I'm thinking about? Not to come out of integrity with who you are, but rather the apology, the new design for the apology is when we realize that something we said or did happened out of alignment with who we want to be. And so we are willing to be accountable. We are willing to use every moment we have as a check to go, oh, right, let me take care of this right away so I can come back into alignment with who I say I want to be, this peaceful, loving, kind, heart-centered person. Everything that is happening right now is an opportunity for us to choose. How do I want to feel? Do I want to add to the fire or do I want to sit it out? Do I want to expand my consciousness or do I want to constrict it by being in an egocentric division narrative of separation? We all have choice. There's so much going on right now that I have no control over. It doesn't mean I'm sitting it out and passive. It doesn't mean I don't have thoughts about it. I do. But at the end of the thinking process, I still come back to the same thing. What am I going to do about it? What am I personally going to do about it? And because I truly believe that we are all connected, it always takes me back to myself. It always brings us home to ourselves. So I'm happy to see who's watching today. Hi, Marianne. I'm grateful for any responses or comments you have, but join me. Let's choose today that we are not going to add to the fire. If we have anger, let's find safe people that we can express it to. Let's make some space in our day or tonight to really unravel that anger. There's a lot to be angry for and angry about. I get it. I really do get it. But I think I just wanted to remind myself and you that we have to remember the role of the mind and the role of the heart in this moment right now. The mind is always influenced by the past. It's all the mind knows. The heart, however, knows everything. The heart knows love. If you can activate love today, if you can do your best to put it down, get into your heart space, do some breathing, put a smile on your face, look outside your own situation and who it is that you might be able to help, make a phone call to. You know, I had this experience recently. I was back in New Jersey and I got off the highway because there was an accident and my gut just said, you know, get off. And I got off and I eventually avoided the accident, but it took me through a town called Union, New Jersey. And I was at the light and I saw these young black kids with their school books on their back and in their arms walking across the street as I was at the red light. And I looked at them and I looked at their faces And I thought about their lives. And I thought about how tough it must be, especially for these young black kids, a young black man. How tough it must be to get up every day and have hope and have faith in yourself, in life, in your school education, to get up every day and push back against the momentum that has been placed before them by our society, brought me to tears. I have no complaints whatsoever. There are so many people right now that are hurting mentally, emotionally, financially. There is so many opportunities to help another person. So I just want to encourage you to join me in the New Design for Living community and take that fierce stance of love and peace and do everything you can to make sure your communication is coming from love and oneness. And if it isn't, or it can't yet, then don't speak. Simply tell the people, tell the person, I need some more time. I want to come from love about this, and I'm not there yet. Every choice that you make is a thread in the tapestry of the collective. Every choice you make. Think of the pond. I don't care how tiny the pebble is. You throw a pebble in a pond, what happens? That pebble sends ripples across the entire pond, the entire surface, even the very edges of the banks where it hits land, eventually gets a ripple from that one pebble in the center of that water. That is you, that is your thought, that is your feeling, that is your choice. You are connected to all people everywhere. And the moment before us is so sacred. How do you want to feel? Who is it that you really want to be in this moment? Who or what has dominion over your thinking? And if it's not you, do everything you can to grab that steering wheel, even if you got to throw it in park until you figure it out, and be the one to lead in your relationship, your family, your friendship, your coworkers. That's the hard part, but that is the most rewarding part, because not only will it affect you and your inner life and your inner wellness and your health, but you will be the pebble in the pond. And if enough of us throw pebbles of love, oneness, compassion into the pool of humanity, if enough of us choose something different than what everyone else is choosing, if enough of us understand the power of a high frequency choice, word, feeling versus the low, dense frequency of the ancient division, separation, patriarchal. I mean, look, it is insane what's going on out there. But every single thing can take us home to the individual experience. And when we start clearing that up and stop looking at what's happening outside of us and use it as a reflection to take us into us and do the work and do the forgiveness work, I mean, it's a game changer. I'm really excited. I'm going to be launching this weekend a brand new mentorship program. I decided today it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just doing it. I'm going to start off with individual mentorship options, and then there'll be a group mentorship program that will go on for I don't know how many months yet, because I really feel that this is the kind of thing we need right now. I want to help as many people move out of their confusion and get into clarity. I want to help as many people move from uncertainty into a sense of confidence, because we are at the threshold of change right now. And this is a topic I've been working with for years. That's what my book, The Confusion Experiment, is all about. That's what the New Design for Living, the vision of that, is all about. So I'm just going to empty my tank and give it away, and I hope you'll say yes, because one of the things I'm going to offer is the one and done. The whole goal here is to help people get back up on their feet as quickly as possible. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. Sometimes you just need 1-2 hour deep dive to get you over the finish line, to help you cross that threshold into a new way of being, thinking, and feeling. Sometimes you need a deeper dive. That'll be 3 sessions. So these are the things that are coming, and I'm really excited about it. So I love you so much. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Roger, Delina, Marianne, take super good care of yourself. Feel free to share this once it becomes a post with others who you think might appreciate what I'm saying, and find some helpful nuggets as we navigate this time together. So much love.